Hello, everyone, and welcome to Savantis's Business Central Add-on Spotlight Series, where we feature ISVs that meet a range of industry and business process needs for organizations using Microsoft Dynamics Business Central. I'm joined here today by Cavallo representatives. We have Bob and Alex here to share the distribution cloud. If you have any questions, please drop them in the Q&A. We're going to cover those at the end. And I'm going to pass it right on off to Bob and to Alex. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Emily, thank you so much for having us. We appreciate this opportunity to highlight and spotlight our add-on product for Business Central today. My name is Bob Baresh, and as Emily alluded to, Alex Shellhaus will be joining us for the demo. This is a product overview and demo of our Cavallo for BC, as well as our process analytics solution for business intelligence. And so with that, I'm going to jump into a quick agenda. So real briefly, the little presentation before the demo kicks off. Just a little bit about Cavallo and who we are, a little product overview for the Cavallo for BC product, as well as the process analytics. And then jump into the demo, and then also there will be a Q&A for you all as well. So just a little bit about Cavallo and our why. Really, we exist to help customers and companies like yourself become more profitable and competitive by offering up a very powerful operational ERP software solution that delivers 100% visibility and control into your business operations to maximize out the efficiencies. Just at the bottom there is just a little bit of, it's an elevator pitch I sort of created for myself when people ask me, who is Cavallo and what you guys do? And really it's just, we provide the horsepower to automate businesses' operational processes, making them radically efficient and profitable. So in a nutshell, that's who we are and that's what we do. And over the years, we've been in existence for approximately 20 years almost, coming up soon. The company started off as the name of the company was SalesPad, and we went through a name change a couple years back to Cavallo. To help diversify the company into expanding into other business applications from outside of Dynamics GP, and now most recently into the Dynamics Business Central space. Serve over 1,000 companies with 20,000 users. When companies come to Cavallo, they don't leave. We have a 92% retention rate, which is pretty amazing, to go along with that 95 NPS score. For those of you not familiar, that's a net promoter score. And basically, in a nutshell, what that is it's your customer's willingness to refer you to other companies based on their experience with you. And so we're pretty proud of that 95% NPS score. It's pretty high, and we're always achieving to make it even higher. And basically, with the value we create for our customers, we've created over $100 million in value to companies that we serve. And if you've noticed some of the logos around the background of this slide, these are some customers that are currently using Cavallo. Maybe a couple names you may recognize, Gorilla Glue, Blender Bottle, some big names out there, but just kind of highlighting some of those customers with their logos on this slide. And so what are the problems that we can solve? So really with Cavallo, inefficient order entry system, fragmented customer data, unclear inventory availability, some siloed AR information, disparate channels, limited margin control, poor order visibility, or inflexible workflows. These are just a handful of some of the things we've been able to help achieve for our customers. Ton of other problems we've been able to solve, but these probably are some of the main things that we can address and help companies achieve better success with their use of their ERP solution. And so now just a real quick kind of overview or look at our Cavallo for BC product. If you're using Microsoft's Dynamics 365 Business Central as the base ERP solution, we are known as what they call an ISV, an independent software vendor. We create solutions to enhance the performance of D365 BC. And we like to look at it in 3 different layers: accelerate, automate, and analyze. And so really in that accelerate level, We can help and enhance the order entry capabilities of D365 through our Cavallo for BC product, along with some CRM capabilities and the customer management piece. And then we also do have an integration to bring forward some credit card processing capabilities with Notice Card Connect through to your back office ERP. And then also on the automate layer. So this is where we bring in some automation through the dashboard as well as the workflow. Think of your workflow as rules-based automation. So as an example, if this occurs, then this should happen. One example could be if your CSRs are creating an order and they add a line item on there and they want to discount it, and your company wants to achieve a certain margin threshold. If your CSR is putting a price that is below that threshold, the workflow can automatically queue that up to say, in order to proceed, you need to get manager approval. So that's just one of thousands of different workflow types of automation rules you can build in. And then on the top, we want to provide that visibility into your business through some business intelligence. And we have our process analytics tool that can help you see where the an order is, an example, throughout the flow of its pick, pack, ship cycle, and maybe help you spot any bottlenecks if there's something holding a certain order up or orders up. So really, this is kind of just that 50,000-foot overview of what Cavallo for BC is. Alex will kind of delve into the under the covers and give you a better look at exactly what this product can do for your business. And then I wanted to throw this slide up there to let you know that the Cavallo for BC product is out on Microsoft's App Store. So you can go check that out if you wanted to see more and learn more and connect with us. This is one way for you to check it out, or you can contact us directly. And with this slide, I think I'll turn this over to Alex to maybe kind of run through a little bit of the demo context here.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it. So what we're looking at here is really kind of a high-level overview about how Cavallo kind of fits into your overall process, right? So when we think about running and operating a business, ultimately you have to kind of acquire customers. So it goes from sell, then ultimately you win the opportunity, you win the deal or whatever it is, and the customer has to ultimately create an order from you, right? And then there's some sort of a fulfillment process that happens, whatever that is. Maybe you're drop shipping it, maybe you're fulfilling it yourself, right? And what we do with our product is help provide tremendous visibility or throughout this entire life cycle of your orders and of your fulfillment process in general. So we have this broken out where the order management dashboard really kind of covers all your bases there and tells you exactly what's happening. And then that's all powered by the order management workflow, which we'll show you in a bit. And then specifically on the sell and order side, we have really great experiences that help you manage your customer relationships and then help make it super, super easy to enter in orders. And then we have really great relationships with a number of other ISVs that kind of fill strategic gaps that make sense for your organization to partner with somebody like InsightWorks to manage your fulfillment process or to do your shipping capabilities. But at the same time, we can work with any other warehouse tool out there that you want to bring to Business Central. And then at the end, we have, of course, our relationship with Notice, a really long-standing relationship with them that has been really fantastic for many, many of our customers. So that kind of gives you a little bit of a high-level view of what ultimately our products do. Let's dive into the actual offering here. So I'll go ahead and try to share. All right. Bob or Emily, are you seeing my screen or no? Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
I just stopped sharing mine, so hopefully that was. There we go. I see something coming up. There we go. We have it.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. So what we're looking at here is part of Cavallo, and we're looking at the mission control screen. And really this is the home for your business so that you can say, all right, these are the things happening throughout the process, right? So this is all of your order documents. It's all of kind of what orders do I need to purchase? I've got a couple of documents in back order. Hey, we already cut the PO. We're waiting for the product to arrive into our warehouse. And so everybody in the organization, historically, if they would have had siloed information, all of the information for who needs to do what within the organization is really housed within mission control so that you can see exactly what needs to happen. So just practically what that might look like is somebody, you might have a CSR that is going to be constantly evaluating the need credit card queue. These are the customers in which you need to get credit cards information from them. So they may be in charge, they being the CSR, may reach out to this customer and communicate to them to say, hey, we need to get a credit card from you in order to continue to process this document, right? While some sort of management persona will look at this entire thing and I see, try to learn and discover, all right, what's going well, what's going poorly, where is my money sitting? In this case, I've got 2 documents in my create invoice queue. That might be a call to action to say, okay, why are we waiting to create these invoices? These invoices should be generated automatically. They haven't been generated automatically, so we've got some potential revenue just sitting here in a position where it doesn't need to be sitting, right? And then on the top here, what we have is kind of our approvals section. And what this is really kind of the guardrails that help protect your business from things going wrong, right? So if we've got a number of documents that have, violated my margin check rules, our workflow engine goes and capture these documents and makes sure that they don't go any further. Right. And so we've got 2 documents here, both with negative margin. We should go ahead and reject these basically immediately. So if I'm a manager within the organization, I can come in here, I can click approve or reject, and I can, listen to what's been happening from a communication standpoint from somebody actually saying, hey, I want to give out this margin at a lower, or send this document through at a lower margin. And there may be a valid reason for that, right? Maybe you're sending out a loss leader, maybe you're sending out a sample, something along those lines. And so you may say, okay, this exception is okay. Let's go ahead and approve or reject it. And so this really just this page gives you that visibility into your entire business so you can see exactly what's happening. You see all of the orders in the new order queue. You get a quick glimpse of the margin. You can see what products are associated to the order. And then you'll also get kind of a sneak peek into, if there happens to be, related documents. So you would see things like purchase orders. You would see things like, pick documents. So in this case, we see the warehouse pick and the warehouse shipment. And those have been created just yesterday, and you could communicate that information to the customer. But our workflow engine, instead of having to go and create those documents manually, the workflow engine can take care of that for you. So let's dive into maybe a little bit more of what this looks like on the back end. One of the things that we truly believe here is that we want to give you the tools to be able to iteratively improve your business. And so when we were building the workflow, the no-code workflow engine, we really wanted to make it accessible to business leaders, business stakeholders, so that as they recognize unique opportunities to improve their process, they had the tools in place to do just that, improve their overall process. And so let's walk through that a little bit. So what we do on the left-hand side, we've got a number of different queues, right? So new order, needs deposit, needs credit card. We get a number of documents that get back ordered. Maybe we wait for the product. These are all manually configured. You can call these Alex's queue. You can call these Bob's queue. You can call them whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. It's just something that's going to be meaningful to your organization so that you can really clearly define what are the steps and the exceptions and the different ways that you might want to route documents conditionally based on, your specific process, right? And then we go into the actual queue and adjust it and define kind of our overall parameters for things that should happen. So should any automated actions, take place? Not yet. And then we just go ahead and define our paths, right? So again, it's just really human language. So if all of these conditions are true, so, if the document status has all of shipped, meaning the document has been fully shipped, go ahead and move it to the create invoice queue. It doesn't need to go through the rest of my process. It's already been shipped. We should just capture that revenue as soon as we possibly can. We could trigger off automated actions if we wanted to. We could say, let's go ahead and authorize a credit card payment. We could, make sure the inventory is allocated. We could send out an email to the customer. So we could send out a pro forma invoice. We could send out a sales order confirmation. You could send really any report that you want right from Business Central. And this could take the effort off of your sales team so that they don't have to send these out. But we can still make sure that they get communicated with. So we're going to send out the email report for you, make the reply to be the sales rep, and then you could send it to the primary address or something like that. And now the workflow engine is going to send that email out, and then the sales rep is going to be CC'd on that so that they can get the reply to as necessary throughout the process. And so you can really just kind of define the process really, really simply here. The next thing that's going to happen is we're going to try to allocate the inventory. It's just an automated action denoted by this robot. And then, we're going to need a deposit. So if the document status has all of my needs payment statuses, move it to needs deposit. Here's another example. Maybe you want to send out an email to your customer, right? We tried to allocate first, but if we weren't able to allocate, part of the document would have been back ordered. So let's go ahead and actually back order the document, right? And so in this case, we're going to move it to the back ordered queue. Or if we want to, maybe we have logic within our business that says, let's go ahead and do a rush picking process, right? This is a really important order. We could have something that says these documents should go into some sort of a priority picking process. And so users get the ability to really kind of configure this a ton, and you can continue to stack these things together. So you can add multiple conditions, right? So I could say, all right, if the document status, is back ordered, but maybe we only want to do that, for, documents that have a shipment date that is within the next week. Right. And so maybe we only back order documents that are, have a shipment date within the next week. And so you can continue to stack these together to create really, really complex logic for the way that your organization should be handling orders. And then the other part of there's a couple more parts to the workflow definition. One of them is business rules, and this is kind of that approval section that we talked about already. And this is really kind of our opportunity to again create those guardrails, right? So in this case, we just created a business rule that says, hey, if the margin percent is less than 20%, and the document total is more than $1,000, go ahead and capture this document and require it to go through an approval process. Maybe you want to have the limit be $1,000 so that you're not having to check every single order. You can make it so it's more curated than that. Or maybe you only want to check orders for a specific customer, right? You have some sort of a customer where they have a high discount probability, and so their margin is always low, and so you could stack that here. Or alternatively, you could do something like, hey, if the sales rep, maybe we're onboarding a new sales rep. So if the sales rep is one of these people, in this case, Ben, hey, I don't trust Ben quite yet. He's a new sales rep. I want to put in some guardrails for him so that I can make sure that he's not giving away margin unnecessarily. You can put in some guard rules for Ben so that you can make sure the orders don't go out, below what you would like them to go out. And then once you feel like Ben's in a good position, you could go ahead and remove that business rule. And so you can continue to stack these together. We have customers with, close to, 50 of different business rules set up. In this case, similarly, right, we've got hey, if the field from the order, if the promised delivery date is within the next week, go ahead and flag this document. So as a rough example, maybe, our cycle time is longer than a week on average. I know we can't be successful if we have to get a promised delivery date out of, over the next week. So you can put in some guardrails. Maybe you want to move heaven and earth to make sure that the order can get out. That may be the case, in which case you get somebody, they now have the ability to approve it, right? In this case, I am the only person that has the ability to approve it. But if I want to add somebody else to do it, maybe I'm on vacation, you could add multiple people that now have the ability to approve that. And so the last part of workflow is really kind of these automated actions. And really what this allows us to do is evaluate documents and then their overall conditions and move documents forward based on, if they've met those conditions. So in this case, if the document has been fully picked, push the document forward. Right, the document has been fully picked. We should be in a position where let's go ahead and invoice it. And then we also have this create invoice, right? So if any document meets these conditions, we're going to actually invoice it, and it's going to be pushed forward into my create invoice queue. So the invoice is going to be happening automatically. You don't have to actually invoice manually. So it's going to end up saving your organization a ton of time. And right now we're evaluating this condition every 15 minutes and going and checking to see if that condition has been met. But you could do this at a different interval. Maybe you only want to do this once a day, right? You could certainly adjust this to make it so it only happens when you really want it to happen. I'm going to go ahead and leave without saving, exit that. And so that's kind of how it works all on the back end. Let's talk a little bit more about how this works kind of practically. Right. So if we go ahead and put in a brand new document, in this case, let's go ahead and put in a new order for a datum corporation here. What we get is a brand new order created for the customer in a really simple and easy to use order entry experience. So what we have here is the order, and it's fully customizable. So you could change this to Alex's stuff, and that would be just fine. You could change this to whatever you want. You can add or remove fields. So I could, add allocated. I could add all of these other fields and then order them appropriately however I want over here so that you can make sure it meets your specific needs. Let's go ahead and change this back to overview. Apply those changes. But anyways, this is fully configurable to meet your specific business's needs. Now, the header information is often, important at the first part of entering in an order, but then it becomes kind of less useful, right? As what we really want to concentrate is making sure that the information on the order, the products, everything is done correctly when you're creating an order. And so we give you more screen real estate to actually work with here. And the other thing that we have, let's just go ahead and change this to a card payment. Is a really robust and easy to use activity log. And what this does is tells you the story of a document, so to speak, right? So I can see that this document was created by Alex Shalhas just a couple of minutes ago. I changed the card payment method from bank transfer to card payment, and you can see exactly what I've been up to on this screen. And you can imagine as throughout the course of the document's life cycle, a lot of different things may be happening throughout this process. So, one person adjusts something. Maybe I change the price from $6 to $12. I up the discount. We're going to be logging all of that information so you can see exactly what's been happening on the document. And as more and more activities happen, we also give you the ability to kind of filter this down into specific people, right? So maybe I'm a new employee. You want to use this as a training opportunity to say, okay, it looks like you're doing this. You can see exactly what Alex Shalhas has been up to on this sales document. So you can use it as a training opportunity, or maybe an opportunity to just kind of say, all right, look at this is the wrong thing to do. We shouldn't be doing this, right? And then we just kind of have a payments page, and then of course related documents if there happen to be any. So now if I want to go and actually create this order and add line items to it, there's a couple of different things that I can do. I can open up my inventory drawer here, and this is going to give me a full view of all my inventory at each location. And I can see how many I have on hand, how many I have available, how many I've allocated and back ordered. And you can see this also by warehouse, which is going to be really, really important for organizations that are having multiple warehouses. So you can see I've got, 5 of these allocated in my East warehouse, 45 available in my East warehouse. I don't have any available in any of the other warehouses. So we should really make sure we select the East warehouses when we're documenting and actually generating the order. And so if you are creating a really complex order, it's important to be able to, search for the item and add multiples at the same time so that you can create the order very, very quickly. But there's one other way to add items to the order, and that's just using this quick drop down. which really kind of gives you quick access to, what it is that the customer's been buying historically. So in this case, let's go ahead and add a Paris guest chair to the document. This is going to be added to the order. We're going to be saying it's here. The unit of measure is a piece. And now let's go ahead and select the location. And again, we make sure that you have the visibility into how much you have at each location. So let's go ahead and select the East Warehouse, change the quantity to 3. And then if I wanted to, I could manually allocate the inventory right here. I can see I have 0 of these back ordered, 234 on hand, and really at a really critical point in the order entry process, you get the information that you need to really make good decisions about how this is being generated for your CSRs or for whoever's in charge of entering in orders. You can see that the document is in my new order queue right now, and I could submit it to the needs deposit queue, but maybe I'm feeling really generous and I want to give this customer a 50% discount. Now, what's going to happen is I actually get immediate feedback from the system, right? That says, hey, I violated one of the business rules. And so I can see that just by clicking here. I violated the check discount rule. If I want to, I can still submit this throughout the process and go ahead and request approval. But if it's not in a good position, maybe I want to try to explain myself, right? Can I do this, please? Right? And you can give yourself kind of a chance to explain, all right, I'm giving a discount because of X, Y, and Z reasons. And you can have a conversation back and forth with your manager from here. But if I recognize that I violated the business rules, maybe I just want to go ahead and change it back to 0. And then it'll go back to normal and you're going to be in a good position to be able to submit that further. So I feel good about this document so far, but let's go ahead and add one other product. In this case, let's go ahead and add a conference bundle chair. This has been added. Let's go ahead and select my East Warehouse. We'll change the quantity. Let's go ahead and do 3 again this time. And now, if you remember, I have inventory available for this one. I don't have inventory available for that line. So what we're going to do is just make sure that we rely on workflow to manage this process for us. And so let's just go ahead and submit it to needs deposit. And then this is going to be processing. And then if you recall during the workflow definition side, we tried to allocate. In this line, we were able to fully allocate this line, but this line has been back ordered because we don't have any actually in our warehouse. And so the document is going to be stuck for a minute. And so as you can see up here, I can't actually move it because I do need to get a deposit for the document. So from here, I can actually go ahead and take a payment. Let's go ahead and just take a partial payment and say this is typically what we want to get is just $100. The payment is going to process, and this is part of our Notice integration. So this is actually a credit card managed by Notice for you so that you can make sure everything is fine. And again, our workflow kind of picks up and adjusts based on the logic that we have set up, right? So now I can go ahead and submit it to the back ordered queue. And from here, what we can say is, all right, the purchasing manager is in charge of the back ordered queue. The purchasing manager goes and views this, and then we could make it so that the purchase order is actually generated automatically for you. So somebody doesn't have to do that. We go ahead and cut the PO for this line. And then, we just wait for the inventory. And then from here, it's just going to stay in my waiting for product queue until, an automated action go ahead and, tries to allocate the inventory or really just kind of works throughout your process. And so that would be kind of how it's handled if there happens to be back ordered. But what we can also do is let's go ahead and put in a brand new order. Let's do it for a datum again. And then let's say, actually fulfill an order that we know we have inventory in stock. So in this case, let's go ahead and say, this is my Paris guest chair from my East Warehouse. I'm going to go ahead and submit it into the next spot. The inventory has been allocated because we have that stuff on file. We need to go ahead and take a payment. In this case, let's just go ahead and take a full payment. It's yelling at me because I haven't selected the right payment method. In this case, we'll select the right payment method. take the payment. And then once this processes, it'll actually be able to go to the next step again. So we could submit it to, instead of submitting it to back ordered, we can submit it to ready to pick. And what's happening here is that we're actually releasing the document, which is really important for the fulfillment process within Business Central. So it's now in this read-only view. Users didn't have to do that. The system took care of that for you. And then it also generated the relevant documents so that, whatever warehouse management tool you're using can pick these up and say, hey, we got to go ahead and use this pick document. We got to go ahead and use this shipping document. And then once these are posted by your WMS, you then have the ability to push the document forward, and we can automatically invoice it for you from there. And that's really kind of how it would look, if you happen to have all of the information, all of the product on file. So there's a couple of other parts to the application. One being really kind of the more customer management side, where what you can do is actually open up what we call a customer card. And really, this is a great place to come if you're a CSR. You're trying to, the customer calls you or emails you and they say, hey, I have a question about a specific order. This would be a great place to come to get information about a specific customer. You can see if they ask about this order right here, I can see, hey, it's back ordered. I can see that there's 2 products on it, and that really helps the customer service rep communicate effectively about the status of a document. I can see what products the customer has purchased historically, if there's any posted invoices, or of course I can, manage the relationships with them as well. So I can manage my contacts, I can add new contacts and adjust those. I could, adjust my addresses, or I could, if they've got a new credit card that they want to have on file because the workflow is doing, authorizations for you and captures, you could have those on file. That is really just going to be stored out in Notice. So we're not storing this information. We're just making it accessible so you can edit and manage this at scale. And then, of course, what we also have is a product card. And this is really kind of saying, all right, we've got the Athens desk here. What documents are associated to this? What's the state of those orders? What's the state of those invoices or whatever it is? And you can see exactly what's been on that order. You can see how much inventory you have across your warehouse and use this as a tool to really kind of manage your overall process. So that's a kind of our order management workflow, order management dashboard, order entry, and customer management products. What we also have is analytics tools, as Bob mentioned earlier, that really are intended to kind of help your organization understand how they're working. Is there bottlenecks? Are there challenges? Are there things going correctly or poorly? And so what you can do is you can actually see right within Cavallo Analytics is look at this, and these are really just going to be your queues, the overall process. And so I can see that, my waiting receipt queue, it looks like there's quite a few documents in here. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to kind of evaluate to see how is this queue actually performing. The ready to pack queue, this one looks like it's doing okay as well, and I'm in a really good position. I can see that shipments are down about 8%. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's, not ideal. You can start asking your questions about that, right? So if shipments are down 8%, maybe that's because I have a bottleneck within the rating to receive queue. Is there something going wrong here? Are my vendor relationships needing to be addressed? But overall shipments are down, but my margin is up. So I think generally speaking, I'm in a good spot and my average order size is up. So margin is up, average order size is up. I think that's okay that today's shipments are a little bit down. And so you can start getting the best information possible to help you make decisions about how to run your business and how to manage it overall. And then one other really compelling part of this that I wanted to show you is really just kind of the alerts. And so what we have is the ability to manage information. So in this case, anytime that there's a document that's over $1,000 and the order is, or the margin is less than 20%, we'll actually send you a notification within an email so that you can evaluate this and say, okay, maybe there's something going wrong. If margin is below ideal, we may have something to do. Or what you could say, if it's, if a document has been in the queue for longer than, let's say it's greater than 4 days, maybe that's a long time. Let's go ahead and try to address this. Documents shouldn't be in this queue for longer than 4 days. There's an issue. We can proactively send you a notification that says, all right, things are wrong here. And so that's kind of a little bit of a sneak peek into our analytics product as well. And then one more thing I wanted to mention is that this is actually available on mobile. So if you're coming to mission control and you're trying to figure out, all right, how are my processes performing, you can actually come here and you can review them right from your mobile device. So if you're out and about and you have questions about how documents are, you can come here and view that information. I can see that there's a document's in ready to pick. You can open the document and then actually see more about the document to kind of get a little bit of a sneak peek. If you want to, you could push it forward and really kind of manage it on your mobile device as well. So with that, that's really kind of an overview of our product portfolio in the BC space. I'll pass it back to you, Bob.
Hey, thanks, Alex. Appreciate that. Great stuff. Lot of good information there. So quick question for you. When you're talking about the mobile, is that available on both Android and iOS?
Yeah, so that is really it's available in any kind of modern browser if you wanted to have access to that. It's not a like a native app that you would find on like the Apple or Android App Store. So you would just access that right from your web browser.
Awesome. Emily, was there any questions out there? We are at our Q&A portion of the presentation.
Yes, thank you, both of you. We do have a question. How long does an implementation normally take?
Yeah, great question. So one of the great things about how Microsoft has really kind of built Business Central is they make it really easy for organizations like Cavallo to integrate. And so the integration is typically like it's a 15-minute install of the extension. And then from there, it's just a business conversation about how your workflow should look like. So, you engage with our consulting team. We talk about the workflow, make sure that you're equipped to manage it yourselves long term. And that can typically take about a week, but it depends, how kind of where you are, how complex you want the order process to be. And then we really kind of build that out, work with you to make sure you're equipped to be successful. And then we deploy it. Of course, if you're new to Business Central and you're actually migrating to Business Central, we have to make sure that we're coordinating appropriately and it's in a good position all the time as you're moving data to there. But if you're already on Business Central, it's very, very quick to install and start using.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. I don't have any other open questions. So audience, if you have any questions, we'll wait here a second and answer them. Please drop them in the Q&A right now and we'll get to them. So we'll just give that a moment.
Awesome. While we're waiting for those questions, Alex, let's suppose for a second, Emily was telling us that some of the customers viewing the webinar could potentially be on GP currently considering a move to BC, and then potentially maybe they're already on SalesPad, our GP product. What's the path to transition over to the BC and our Cavallo for BC product?
Yeah, good question. So that's it is a big decision, right? Anytime you're thinking about moving from one ERP to the next, I think that's is a big business decision to say, all right, let's actually do this. There needs to be really compelling ROI to do that, and we found quite a few of our customers are kind of in that decision-making process, and a lot of them have made the choice to move. And really, kind of practically, what that looks like is just having a really deep conversation in this case with Savantis, and make sure that the partnership is set and talk about, all right, what is this going to look like, make sure that we have kind of we've dotted all our I's, crossed our T's. There's a little bit of things that need to happen as you're considering that as well. So like not all fields are the same. There's different constraints in BC than there are in GP. Like not all fields support the same number of characters, so you need to think through that. So there's a lot of due diligence that needs to be done early on. And then really from there, we can support, pretty much if you're on SalesPad right now in GP, we can support pretty much all of your needs in the BC space with a couple strategic partnerships with other ISVs. So we're ready for you and excited about that if anybody's looking at making that decision.
Awesome. Anything else, Emily, from the audience?
Yeah, so we have no current open questions right now, but I did want to say thank you so much, both of you, for mentioning your other partnerships with ISVs. We've actually done these webinars with both Notice and with InsightWorks. So that's really cool to hear that you have a good relationship with both of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, I think, I would like to put forth some next steps. So if anybody does, have additional questions, please contact Savantis Technologies. They can, connect with us and we can assist in that fashion. Or, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about Cavallo for BC, got any questions around, what it looks like, how could it benefit your organization, pricing, so forth. I got my contact information up on the screen. We look forward to engaging with you and trying to help you with your discussion and questions around this product.